I'm not one of these guys who, loved the internet until I found out there was pornography on it. Now I am on the internet a lot. A lot. I would say out of the 22 hours that I am awake during the day, during any given day, I am on the internet about 11 hours. I don't sleep much. Anyway, you get the point.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. Back in the saddle. Good to see you. Hello, Pinkerbell. Hello, Looney Tunes 9000. Good to see you both. We're going to do a return to general wickedness. The standard, what you can do, etc., etc. But I want to maintain my lack of a definite schedule. I want to ease back in to doing a regular show. And also, I want to give myself the ability to do goofy cartoon segments as part of it. Because I think, truly, a piece of information, or let me try this again. I think one useful piece of information packaged with a entertaining cartoon is going to travel farther and get more good things done than 100 useful pieces of information which are presented as dryly as a saltine cracker, or with only my own inherent lefty rage to add to the entertainment. That's just not fun. It's just not fun. Reality drains our energy enough. I don't need to contribute to that. I do very often contribute to that, but it's not helpful. So I'm going to lean more towards getting you guys as much help as possible. As far as I'm concerned, the people who are watching currently are the people who are interested in the core concept. Good. So the next step is to try to just get you guys help. Not even regular fans of the show that come by all the time, just people who happen to see the same stuff you're seeing, who now have a sense of what they can do. Also, if you know people that watch these things, like the Majority Report, like the Valley Labor Report, like what's that one terrible show that is somehow still on the internet? The Letter Hack. If you guys come across fans of that stuff and just needlessly busted his chops, I don't know why. No, if you guys come across fans of that stuff, I also want to give you content that you can share with them, not with the intention of making a new fan of this show, but to literally show them what they can do. That's kind of the purpose of it. Well, we're building up the audience. Well, the notifications are going out that WYCD is live. I did want to go over my thoughts on channel growth. I want to go over this with you because, if I'm looking at this wrong, I want to hear it from people who are like-minded in terms of morality, I guess. It's, general broad strokes. We largely agree. You should not exploit people. You should not do bad things for money, I guess. YouTube fascinates me. There's the equivalent of a 2-drink minimum. Like, how at clubs they'll say you can come see a free comedian, but there's a 2-drink minimum. that's kind of depressing because the purpose of it is to keep the homeless out in the cold. Can't afford 2 drinks. You can't come see the show. That's a bummer, but I do understand the concept. And I have to admit, it works for their purposes. You take out the morality. It's a very efficient way to make sure the people that are there for the reasons stated. They are there to participate in the thing that the bar was built for, drinking and apparently comedy. So if you are there, it's a courtesy that the show is free. But you're supposed to be there to be watching the show, not to warm your bones. That's a bummer. Sucks that people are so desperate they will sit through comedy they weren't interested in just to warm up. But anyway, the point is YouTube does something similar. But it's not designed to keep poor people out. It's designed to keep unserious creators out. I'm fascinated by that concept. Basically, it works like this. You need a certain number of subscribers and a certain number of watch hours before you gain the ability to earn money through YouTube. This is not the only platform that does this. A lot do, in fact. I just think that's a very savvy way to go about it. In other words, it means you can't be a bot, by and large. It gives them a chance to ensure that it's not just an account run by an anonymous serial number somewhere that was auto-generated and blah, 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 blah. You have to be a human being. I think that if you want to be a YouTube creator, if you think you could make content that people click on, you should. And I think if we come across other lefties who are interested in spreading a message of leftist world building, frankly, we should encourage them with everything we've got. And we should get them to the point where they can earn money. But I'll tell you, the more I just sort of passively ride this wave, the more I'm convinced that once you've made money, or rather, once you've gained the ability to make money, I'm not sure that it's a good thing. In every case, to grow your audience indefinitely. There's a huge difference between, I think, growing your subscriber count and making a video that lots of people are going to see. Case in point, I've come across multiple channels now where they have just around 1,000 subscribers, but they have a video with over 1 million views. Or channels where they have 50, 60,000 subscribers, and the average views on their videos are about the same as mine. Fascinating stuff. I think when you have tons of subscribers, you open yourself up to a level of liability, which I personally am not comfortable with, but I'm no longer, I think, at a point where I can really control how many subscribers I'm going to have. But I don't want to actively try to grow that. Instead, what I want to do for this channel, and frankly for any channel I come across that I think should prosper, what I want to do, and what you're going to start seeing me do, hence the purpose of this little opener, is create ways for those channels to generate income that did not exist before. And that's it. It's going to be all kinds of things that I try, but I'm going to try to separate it from the normal content. In other words, it's going to be weekend stuff. So on the weekends, I'm going to do weird experimental stuff, not unlike Fight Night that you saw, but mostly um, it's not necessarily going to be a change in content so much. Well, yeah, there's going to be, but mostly it's going to be a change in format. You'll see me live streaming with other folks that are apparently unrelated, or you'll see me hosting strange videos. I'm going to do this on the weekend to experiment, and those experiments that prove fruitful, where I find, oh yeah, this is a regular income earner. This is a thing that generates reliably 60, $70 a weekend. That level of thing. I'll share that with other content creators. So that's in 2024, the new direction Wicked's going. During WYCD, I should say. During the week, same old, the thing I enjoy doing, talking about politics and telling you what you can do. I'll still be trying to improve that show, yada, yada, all that stuff. But on the weekends, I'm fascinated by YouTube. I'm fascinated by the business model. I kind of like the business model. I acknowledge that they take a hefty chunk of the profit, but 30% to me sounds fine, frankly. I think it's a fair system. Is it perfect? No, but I think it's fine. It's a video hosting service. I have some experience with servers and how expensive they are and how quickly they fill up, and the deal being that we can host an infinite amount of our videos. In fact, we can, if we choose, play live content on their servers constantly. And all they ask for is 30% of what we generate. And oh, by the way, they'll also provide a money payment system that allows people to pay you if they decide it's worth it. Perfect. Wonderful. I will go with that. That said, we're also going to start streaming to Twitch because, as you all have pointed out, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You were right. You've been right, and I will expand to Twitch. And we're gonna, in terms of memberships, lean more into Ko-fi, KOFI, than the YouTube memberships. Although that said, I do want to start doing a regular members something. You guys can already look at my notes as I'm writing the shows, but we will expand that. I think maybe just whatever members get, people that are paying a monthly whatever, it's going to be available on everywhere that you can sign up to be a member. Okay, that's it for show notes. Talk about the news. Oh my word, we got a lot of folks showing up. Tao and Jack, good to see you. Elaine Sharp, hello. And Fun P, hello. Looney Tunes 9000, Jake's producer brain is going to hell. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And truth be told, as much as I enjoy my own show, and I will always stress this because it will always be true, the flagship of what I'm doing will always be What You Can Do, because I think it's needed. But the production is where my business interest. Like when I fantasize about this thing funding itself, it's not the show What You Can Do producing so much money that's all I got to worry about. I want to make a network of shows, and beyond even that, how do I put this? A lemonade stand style production outlet where anybody can just hang out, what they're selling for how much. It'll become increasingly clear. Next up, you're going to see cartoon live streams with myself and other what would I even call it? Semi-pro creators, people breaking into the business. Got all that, and then the transit. All right. Load up my graphics. I do this. Oh, the beauty of live streaming. Oh, this is what I'm going to go with you. All right. Looks like we are going with the drunken cop story first. We already talked about it, but it bears repeating. Not correct. There we go. Do you all remember a couple weeks back, an eternity in today's news cycle, the cop that crashed into the bar and then arrested the bar owner for daring to having, I don't know, been present where his SUV was? I don't have an update on that other than to say no charges. No charges for Mr. Officer. Let's have a gander. Let's see here. This is from the AP. Quick reminder for the last time, or rather for the changes. Quick reminder because there have been no changes the last time. Here we go. A police SUV slammed into a bar in St. Louis. Police response drawing scrutiny, you don't say. St. Louis police are pledging a thorough investigation after a police SUV slammed into a bar. But supporters of the bar question why one of the owners was arrested in the aftermath of the incident. Well, the officers in the SUV were not tested for intoxication. No one was hurt early Monday when the police car struck the front of Bar PM in South St. Louis, but the front window was smashed. Video footage released Wednesday by Javid Kazak, I'm not even going to say that name, thank you, Javid, the attorney for the bar owners, showed what he said was the same police SUV, son of a gun, running a red light seconds before the crash. Another video showed the SUV suddenly veer into the building. A message left Thursday with police was not immediately returned. Chad Morris, who owns the bar with his husband, was arrested and charged with assault and resisting arrest for allegedly striking an officer after the crash, then trying to run away. He was released from jail Tuesday. Supporters packed the bar that night. Let's talk about police corruption, folks. I don't care if you've got a thin blue line sticker on the back of your car. In fact, let me talk to that crowd. Let me talk to the crowd who believes that the current system we have is sufficient. Just talk to those people for a second. Are you telling me that a cop crashes his SUV into a bar, then arrests the bar owner? You're telling me that's the behavior we want to endorse. Let me be clear. It wasn't assault. What they are describing, it later turned out to be the bar owner brushed, B-R-U-S-H-E-D, brushed the officer. Brushed them. Nudged them. He would have been, in my opinion, after having been woken up by the sound of an SUV smashing into his bar. He was in an apartment above the bar. That's where he came from. This was the dead of night that this happened. He would have been in a position that is totally understandable and forgivable for snatching the cop by their collar and screaming at them, spittle in the face, shaking him back and forth and screaming at him. That would have been worthy of only a verbal warning, given the situation. As the cop there, taking responsibility for one's own actions, the correct thing to do would be to take the spittle in the face and the dank night breath watering your eyes and say, you're right. You're right. Yep, I'm sorry. Look, I'm still a cop. You got to let go of my collar, but you are right. That's all the cop was within their rights to do. What did they do instead? They weren't shaken. They were brushed gently. The cop, who was embarrassed and, in my opinion, covering up for drunkenness, arrested the man. Burst into his bar like the Kool-Aid man, then arrested him. Harm was done here, not just to the bar. Spending a night in jail is horrific. Being physically restrained, dragged off by the man, and tossed into a cell for a night for the crime of just having been where a police officer decided to crash. That was a crime. Everyone involved in that deserves criminal punishment. First and foremost, the cop. I don't care what their job is. That's false imprisonment. The bar owner did nothing wrong. The bar owner was imprisoned. That must be answered for. That incident, that sliver of the incident by itself, deserves a criminal investigation. Beyond that, the cop was drunk. If they want to come at me for saying that, I welcome it. That drunk cop needs their gun taken away, needs their badge taken away, and we need an investigation now with a terrifying lack of evidence into their drinking habits, into that night. Where were they? When did they have an opportunity to drink? Did they take it? Investigate this. Find out. And if you find out that they were drunk and carrying a gun in the name of the people, that deserves a prison sentence. So does the operating a car while drunk. Separately, those two things separately deserve charges. This was a crime spree from a bully who knew his gang would cover it up. And they did. The captain, who was in charge at the time, needs to be investigated. Why did they fail to order a breathalyzer? We know the answer to that. They failed to order a breathalyzer because they didn't want evidence created. That's why. That's the only reason. All right, let me take that back. That might not be the only reason. The other reason might have been they thought you and I were so passive, we're so timid, we're so accepting of our overlords that we wouldn't dare question them. Question them. Call their bosses. Make it a problem for their bosses. Every step above somebody that you go, when you demand somebody do their job better, every step above them that you go, the less you have to demand. The easier it is to annoy that person. You know who'd be really annoyed having to deal with the shenanigans of a couple of bad cops? The mayor. Good news in the description. I've put the email and the phone number for the office of Mayor Tishaura Jones. You can contact the mayor's office and demand a criminal investigation into these officers. The officers must be suspended until the investigation is complete. You can suspend them with pay if you want. It's not a matter of justice in that case. It's a matter of safety. Don't have these drunken criminals, hypothetically, terrifying the civilians. Don't have the people in your town looking at every cop wondering, is this the drunk who's going to arrest me if they crash into my building? Is this the one that does that, or is that one of the other cops? What kind of behavior is allowed? What am I surrounded by? What am I under threat from? And shouldn't I have somebody around here whose job it is to protect me? Call Mayor Tishaura Jones or email her. The St. Louis Police Department Civilian Oversight Board doesn't take third-party complaints, but you can bother them anyway, because fuck them, that's why. Lie to them if you must to get through to the line. Their answer, I take that back. Don't lie. Don't lie. Blunt force this. I was going to say do anything you can to get them to listen to your message. No, I take that back. That's bad strategy. Just flood them anyway. Knowing that they don't take third-party complaints. Call the number that I have provided in the description and make it their problem. Make this a headache for them until it is dealt with. If they want to stop hearing about this punk, we better see a headline saying that person is no longer a cop. They are now a prisoner because they broke the law. Drinking and driving. It's illegal when cops do it too. Falsely imprisoning somebody. Illegal when cops do it too. We just need to insist the laws be followed. Yeah, if you are a good cop, by the way, consider yourself to be an honorable person. Or if you have family that are police and you consider them to be honorable people, insist that they take a side and they take the right side on this. Insist that they develop a distaste for bad cops. If you're a cop and you're not against bad cops, then you're a bad cop and you gotta go. I don't care if that is your twin brother and you love him dearly. If he says he sides with cops no matter what, tell him to throw away his badge because he doesn't deserve it. Can't maintain an honorable reputation. You can't be treated like an honorable person if you defend the dishonorable. If you're the reason that dishonorable people get away with what they do. You're an accomplice. Don't be an accomplice. I know a lot of good cops. But I have zero patience for anyone, cop or not, that puts up with bad cops. Corruption is corruption. Let's see what the Wicked community. Hey, Wicked Foxy Dragon, good to see you. Wireless Mike, hello. Shade Dragon, hello. I think he got drunk because he was planning to go ram into the bar and arrest the owner. That seems crazy to me, man. I think it was a total accident. I think it was a complete accident. I think, and truth be told, I don't know that he was drunk. He could have literally just fallen asleep at the wheel. That happens all the time. Probably a combination. If I had to guess, and truly I am guessing, I'd say it was a combination. Drinking, on the job, it's 3 a.m, fell asleep while patrolling, woke up, startled himself, crashed into a building. The rest of the night was just covering up for that mistake. Why would you crash into a bar, and as part of your plan for crashing into that bar, get drunk, further making it difficult to execute your plan? It's I think it's even worse than you're imagining. I think you're imagining that this was a bigger deal to the cop than it was. This was a minor annoyance. The fact that the people are daring to speak out against them is a minor annoyance, and they're being proved correct because there have been no consequence. The anti-corporatist says that's why ACAB, they put up with it. Here's my beef with that expression, ACAB. I have seen, since its rise in popularity, I have seen so many lefties like make jokes about how they'll never be cops or how like only terrible people would be cops. And what I hear when that stuff is said is that we are going to give the guns and the authority to use them to right-wing psychopaths only. Are you really comfortable with that? I would much rather you all be in charge of enforcing the law than your right-wing counterparts. I would rather people that aren't just aching to gun down a kid. I would rather those people who don't have an insane bloodlust. I'd rather they be in charge of the policing. That said, I get your point. That what do they call it? Blue wall of silence. Gotta go. Got to go. We need nothing but Serpicos. An actual cloud. You might debate Andrea. Oh yeah, you might debate Andrea on this. Yeah. That's a great idea. I would love. I have been in a debating, and she in particular, I think, makes really good arguments. That would be fun. I'll ask if she wants to do that. Oh, she'd go in all in on Jake, says Looney Tunes. Oh yeah, let's do it, baby. The anti-corporatists, there are good cops, but by enabling the bad cops, they're part of the problem. I think you're completely correct. I do think you're completely correct. I want to be clear. Usually when I'm disagreeing with you guys, it's on a matter of how, what do you call it? How we're presenting arguments. It's not the argument. It's the presentation. I don't think it's possible to be much more correct on issues than you guys already are. Now our big obstacle is presenting this to normal. Fortunately, people who are informed in like normal levels. And normal in the United States means they have almost no understanding of what is going on. They like if you ask them who is your representative, they don't know. If you ask them what does a representative do, they don't know. That's our baseline in the United States. What is the role of a governor? They don't know. What does the president do? What does their actual job entail? They have no idea. What is the Electoral College? They don't know. I mean, that's the baseline in the U.S. So with that in mind, we have to think about our messaging. It's insane. Shade Dragon, if you are not a bad cop, it's usually not safe to be a cop. True. Literally, they get assassinated. The corrupt ones tend to get upset at your existence and not send you back up until you're out of the department. Oh yeah. And they tend to send you to places where they suspect you're going to need backup, and they ensure you never get it. Yeah, it's murder. Wicked Foxy Dragon, Jake, I have changed your mind a couple of times. It's super it's not easy, but it's super plausible to change my mind. You have. Yeah. And just saw him. Well, there have been others who have as well. My biggest concern remains, however, the what I'm trying to think of the word. I'm sorry, couching. I think is the word, like a lance, couching our arguments because they keep falling on deaf ears. To that, we have another thing coming up. I want to respond to Pinkerbell though. Pinkerbell, the thing about ACAB is that it's a systematic critique, not a personal one. A distinction Americans are horrible at making by design. Correct. Yeah, and for that matter, that was my problem with defund the police as well. And that was my problem with most of the conversation had around this issue. We keep in the leftist world, expecting the rest of the planet to learn our definitions and get educated on what we think. And it's just not realistic. It won't happen. There are people to this day, in fact, I would say the average person who heard the phrase and even remembers the phrase, defund the police, to this day, they think it means there should be no police. That's what they think defund the police means. Get rid of all police. That's a problem, man. Even if that's what you think should happen, that's not what defund the police means. So when people are saying that and it's being heard as something that it's not, boy, we're not going to make any progress at all. Similar with ACAB. It is a systematic critique, but I don't generally think that's a wise term to use, because who's it for? Not for people that are going to understand it or the people that need to change their minds are not people who are going to understand it as a systematic. An actual cloud, oh my word, with a very kind $5. I'm thinking we should have an elevator pitch that we know by heart as to why the GOP is an existential threat to democracy. Thank you for teeing me up. That's our next segment. Thank you. Also, thank you for the money. I need it. Drugs. I'm going to read an actual Cloud's super chat, because I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect for this segment. An actual Cloud says, I'm thinking we should have an elevator pitch that we know by heart as to why the GOP is an existential threat to democracy. I don't even think we need to add in those last two words. There's plenty of people that don't even care about democracy. They're just an existential threat. I'm going to go even farther. You could be the person, the one person they've decided they're going to help. You might be the token citizen that a GOP, let's say congressperson, picks out that they're going to help. And any involvement they have with your affairs is still going to be more dangerous to you than if literally anyone else is in charge. Because the GOP, down to a man, literally every last one of them, is either evil, incompetent, or both. Usually both. There's very few exceptions where they are anything but incompetent. They are all basically, as far as I've seen, evil. But I leave open, the optimist leaves open the possibility that there's such a thing somewhere as a non-evil member of the GOP. They literally are just so gullible. They fell for their own party's lies. But regardless, then they're definitely incompetent, because no member of the Republican Party is able to run anything. I advise you, when you're talking to other folks, make it clear that they are incompetent. I know, they're either evil or incompetent. It's shocking. It's depressing, but the fact is, massive chunk of America knows how evil they are. Doesn't care. And at this point, if they are still voting for these monsters, the evil might even be part of their appeal. Don't bother talking about that. Also, it's worth noting, your definition of evil and their definition of evil probably going to change. But incompetent, that we still agree on. That we agree. The primaries are when you vote for something in America in 2024. And the general is when you vote against something. If you have someone you want in office, vote for them in the primary. if you have someone you firmly believe should not be in office, the general is when you deal with that. This year, everyone should vote against Republicans. Set aside, when you're talking to people for your elevator pitch, set aside how staggeringly evil these creatures are and just appreciate how incompetent they are. Here's a quick list. Here's your elevator pitch. Republicans cannot run anything. They are all idiots. George Bush, I know, all evil or incompetent, but it's an elevator pitch. So sum it up. Republicans are incompetent. George Bush panicked on 9/11. He got us into a 20-year war over a lie. He bungled the relief efforts for natural disasters, and he crashed the economy. Obama fixed the economy, and then Trump undid the regulations that saved us, and now the price of homes is just about back to what it was right before the 2008 crash. You can do this in any state. Literally anywhere there are Republicans, you can show examples of this. Give one-sentence examples. In Michigan, we had a Republican governor called Rick Snyder before we sobered up and elected Whitmer. And that guy poisoned the entire city of Flint. He ruined their drinking water, embarrassing our state in front of the world. Al Jazeera was doing articles on how many years it had been since Flint's water was poisoned by Governor Snyder. Again, not because he was trying to poison them and embarrass himself. He wasn't. I'm sure he didn't care that there's kids that are going to have short, cancer-filled lives because of him. I'm sure he doesn't care about that, but he wasn't trying to embarrass himself. He's just incompetent because he's a Republican, and Republicans are incompetent. And by the way, pause in this for a second. They're incompetent for the same reason they're evil. People with embarrassingly negative traits, people with traits that ensure they cannot win through an honest discussion, group together. And the evil ones love the incompetent ones because they know they won't be judged for their evil because the incompetent ones are just glad to have a pal along, vice versa. They can't make it anywhere else. It's the party of crooks and losers. Here's Forbes, famous lefty rag, explaining what the consequences are of Greg Abbott's recent actions. See, Texas has a Republican governor named Greg Abbott who ruined the power grid in the whole state. When the weather gets bad these days, Texans have to hope their power stays on. That's the emergency plan. Fingers crossed that the power doesn't shut down, and because Greg Abbott thinks so little of them, because he's both evil and incompetent, he pressed the power companies to keep prices high. Here's that Forbes article. Let me load that up. A study done by London Economics International, again, Republicans embarrassing us on the international stage. A study done by London Economics International found that ERCOT kept its $9,000 per megawatt hour price in place for far too long. The study, which was paid for by Vistra Corp, one of the state's biggest electricity generators, concluded that the wholesale price was $6,000 per megawatt hour too high, and that it stayed too high for about 80 hours. Well, you might be thinking, wait a minute. What if he was just trying? What if he was just trying to stop people from using electricity, to stop the rolling blackouts? Furthermore, keeping the price at $9,000 per megawatt hour did not bring any more electricity supply onto the grid, a point that Magnus made during ERCOT's urgent board of directors meeting on February 24th, 2021. Although the LEI report did not provide a total cost estimate, consumers were likely overcharged by some $26.3 billion. That's from Robert Bryce of Forbes. Guys, I was being sarcastic when I said famous lefty rag earlier. Forbes is a far right Republican propaganda magazine, essentially. When they are tearing into somebody that is a Republican, tearing into them this bad, it means it's because the facts are undeniable. It's because they don't want to lose their reputation of knowing what reality is. And this is how you address potential Republican voters. Why would you even consider voting for morons, incompetent fools like a Republican, ever, in any situation? School board? No. All Republicans are incompetent. They have no sense of how the world works. They don't live in it with you and me. They're not people. They're some sort of demon that we summoned into politics, whose only purpose is to run government badly. You can decide how you feel about them on a personal level in an unrelated forum in terms of who should run our government. Literally anybody except Republicans. Literally anybody on the earth except Republicans. A squirrel that's been taught to hold a pen will do a better job than a Republican. Just leaving the office empty will be better than if a Republican was there. You know those towns that have dog mayors? Literally, leaving the office empty is better than having a Republican. The dog mayor towns are run better than any place that has a Republican running it. Don't consider them for school board. Don't consider them for, frankly, any position. Don't consider them as county clerk, for God's sake, the traitors. Don't consider them for, I don't know, crossing guard, because they will accidentally get the children run over. People are embarrassed these days, embarrassed to be associated with Republicans, and they should be. It's an embarrassing thing to be a Republican. Literally, any Republican is a drain on America. Show me a place run by these monsters, and I will show you a place being run into the dirt. Have that attitude. That's your elevator pitch. It's 3 words. Republicans are incompetent. You can rattle off examples if you want. How about this? Florida just lost $1 billion investment from Disney because DeSantis is an evil fool. There. Republicans overpaid for electricity by $26 billion because Texas Governor Greg, I don't know why I said Republicans there, because Texas Governor Greg Abbott is an evil fool. He's an incompetent head that should be nowhere near the levers of power. In April, Disney filed a lawsuit against DeSantis that alleged the governor led a targeted campaign of government retaliation against the company. I'm quoting an article here. It accuses DeSantis of threatening the company's business and violating its constitutional rights, calling the government's actions patently retaliatory, patently anti-business, and patently unconstitutional. The cancellation is a major blow to the Central Florida's economy. The jobs slated to be transferred to Florida included many highly paid theme park designers. I'm sorry I didn't do a card for that, but that was from Brandon Gerard of the Pensacola News-Journal. From the article, Disney pulled plug on $1 billion Florida project. You want the elevator pitch? An actual cloud. Here it is. Republicans are incompetent. Anyone saying they're considering voting for a Republican to run anything is admitting that they don't know how that thing works. Tell them that. Treat them like that. That doesn't mean treat them badly. That does not mean treat them badly. Just don't treat them with faux respect. If I came to you, walk up to you, and I start talking to you about driving, like, yeah, I drove my car here, and so I raised the mizzen, and I put the liquid that goes in the hole in the back. and I filled that up. I think I did a mix. I did some Sunny D and a little oil and just a bit of Tang, so I could really get. You would know immediately that I didn't know what I was talking about, and the conversation would become about that. Like, wait, why are you lying to me about how you got here? You clearly didn't drive a car here. You didn't do any of those things you said. They have nothing to do with driving a car. Treat people who say they're considering voting for Republicans like that. I just read off a list of Republican mismanagement. You can do that for literally any Republican. Anybody who says that they want things run well, so they're voting for the people who are fucking clowns that never run anything well, is admitting they don't know how this stuff works. Treat them like that. Make it an embarrassing experience for them, but a healthy one. Not unlike a rectal exam. Gotta happen. Say, okay, so you want to vote for the space laser people. You want to vote for the people that ruined Texas's power grid. You're telling me maybe I'll vote for someone competent, or maybe I'll vote for the people that poisoned Flint's drinking water. Maybe I'll vote for the people that constantly crash the economy. Is that it? Maybe I'll vote for the people that chase business out of states. Is that what you're saying? Come on, man. Get real. So you don't really know how any of this. Okay, yeah. Look, I would just say don't vote for Republicans. They're not a serious choice. If you want to be serious about this, you're not even considering. They're a bunch of treacherous thieves. So don't pretend to me like you understand politics. If you're saying, well, I've been considering the Republicans. Yeah, okay, yeah. I really understand picnics. That's why I've been thinking about the ants, really seeing what they say I should bring. That's your elevator pitch. Republicans are incompetent. Anyone who would consider voting for them doesn't know how the thing they're talking about works. Doesn't matter if it's school board, doesn't matter if it's president. They don't understand how it works, and they've exposed that by saying they're considering voting for Republicans. That emotional wound should echo with them for the rest of their days. I lay awake at night thinking about awkward things I've said on air that will forever haunt me. What should forever haunt them is that time they accidentally revealed that they were considering voting for a Republican. It's a shameful thing, and they should be shamed for it. That's a healthy thing, by the way. That's a thing you do out of love. Like you tell somebody if they've got food in their teeth, if you care about them not embarrassing themselves, you tell them it's an idiotic thing to consider voting for Republicans if you care about them embarrassing themselves. Oh, that's the wrong button. Yeah, I think undue respect is a huge problem that we need to tamp down on. Great super chat. Thank you. Richard Hinckley. Yeah, I don't know, man. I heard that, this is in quotes, I heard that party recently, insert atrocity here, is my favorite. There's always a recent, truthful thing I can insert into that spot, too. Always. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, truly, there's a serious debate to be had about whether you should vote, like, for this person or that person within the Democratic Party. There's or the independent crowd, sure. But if you're considering voting for a Republican, you're just admitting you have no idea how the world works. And that needs to be made clear. And if you get your news from Fox, you need to be immediately made fun of for falling for that. That simple. Drink this because it's gotten cold. Bella Lugrisi, in quotes, my point is God's still up there. The arrogance of people to think that we, human beings, would be able to change what he is doing in the climate, to me, is outrageous. from James Inhofe. I just think that's wrong. Sorry, it's just James Inhofe got it wrong. The hell? Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Oh God, he was a senator for so long. Oh yeah, Bella, further proof that these people cannot be trusted with anything. I mean, literally anything. Pinkerbell, I worked hard for that when I lived in this. Oh, well, let me go back up to what wireless mic. At Pinkerbell, I was wishing I could vote for Beto when he was running. I would have liked to see Pinkerbell proven once again that she is rad as hell. I worked hard for that when I lived in the city, Mike. He came closer than I expected, to be honest, but I'm in an extremely rural place now. I think there is some benefit to being in a rural place. You can, even if it just comes down to finding out who's running against the psychopath that's going to win, just by printing out flyers and putting them up anywhere you're allowed to, you can make them have to spend money to counter your messaging. It's a great chance to bleed these pigs. Oh, God, that's why I recognize the name. Bello Lugrisi. He also had snowballs in the freezer. He's the snowball guy. Yeah, he brought it out into Congress and was like, oh, I don't know, maybe not. So local things are dominated by like 3 to 12 dudes and nobody else runs. Oh, shit, Pink. You gotta run. You gotta run. Just sign up. You know you're going to lose. You are going to lose, yes. So who gives a shit? Your running would accomplish the bleeding of their finances. You will get them to beg people, even if they don't get money from the Republican Party, they're going to beg local people for money. Do you see that money that the local people donate to them? In their heads, they're going to say, well, I've given to the Republican Party, and they won't donate it to whatever Cheeto-covered Hitler, be it DeSantis or whatever, that runs in the presidential race. Drain them. Drain them. I'll help. I think it would be a fun project for us to have you run for representative or something. And if you actually get it, by the way, holy shit. Holy shit. How much fun would that be? Hell, even if you got kicked out of office, how much fun would it be? You know, you just can't handle it anymore, and you decide, you know what? I'm going to punch Matt Gaetz in the face. Punch him in the mouth. And get arrested. Be a great story, man. I'm just telling you. The anti-corporatists, I don't know about that. I had to take off my F Trump sweatshirt before leaving the house in this rural area. It's dangerous, man. But it gets more dangerous the more we avoid confrontation. These people shrink at confrontation for the most part, and we cannot. The big part of why I think we should butt heads with them on even the most immature of levels, even in name calling. We just need to do a better job. We need to be their superiors at every level, including the gutter. Every level. They have no place in our presence. Anti-corporatist, wasn't Inhofe the guy that was like, women's bodies reject sexual assault sperm? And then Baker Bell saying, no, that was Todd Aiken. You guys have great memories. Oh. Yeah, anti-corporatist, wrong right-wing effing idiot, exactly. Marianne McDermott, I feel like going to jail for the opportunity to punch Gaetz is worth. Honestly, I'm considering working on local campaigns. I am not considering working on national campaigns because I know in my own brain that calculation has been made already, and I'm there. Won't be able to afford bail, so gonna go through to the trial date. Gonna be easily 2 months in jail, even if I'm somehow found innocent, followed by certainly an additional couple of months in jail because I'll be guilty. And if I see those dumb fucking teeth near me, I'm gonna grab some of them. Bella Lugrisi, so many right-wing idiots, so little time. I know. Oh, God, it's 8:44. Wait. No. Yes, we're good. Oh, whew. Guys, Environmental Coffee House doing a stream shortly. I'm going to share that link in the description. Right here. I will be tuned in for that. I do hope to see y'all there. No, I don't have time for the last segment. Yeah, I'm going to head over there. Thank y'all for joining me. I don't know why I said 2 for Tuesday today. This is a 1 for Tuesday. Thank you for joining me tonight. We're going to be back with more shows. Tomorrow is Left Past 10. That's all I'm doing tomorrow, I think. And I'll see you Thursday and Friday. Y'all, we're back. Thank you for joining me for the Fight Night premiere yesterday. Those that were there, if you guys would like to see a humorous cartoon and you didn't already check it out, check out WYCD Fight Night in our VODs. Then WYCD, that stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake.